be here on time.
Okay, so we are right at the top of Kuf Yud. Today we're going to learn the key, as in Kuf Yud, the key to many interesting halachas. Today's a shtickle potpourri of interesting tidbits that the Gemara shares that really are all independent of one another as shasukas. So let's start. Hushtara daviksiv ve shenin stama. There was a star mashkanta, the surah. A star mashkanta, the surah is, if I borrow money from you, I give you my property, let's say for a fixed amount of years, let's say for argument's sake, 5 years, and you're allowed to eat all the payers during those 5 years, and then after the 5 years are up, you give me my field back, and there's no money exchanged, and the chayv is paid off. But we didn't write in the star how many years it is. We just write, I'm giving it to you for years, but not how many years it was for. So ksiv beishnin stama, malva amar sholish. The malva said it's 3 years. The loiv amar shnayim, and the loiv said it's 2 years. So they were arguing about the third year whether or not the malva is entitled to eat the pears as a mashkanta. So Zokta Gemara, and what happened was kadam malva vechlinu leperi. Till they got into Bezdin, till they got their court date, it was already past the third year. The malva has already eaten the pears. And now the question is, can the loiva now get back his pears? Assuming that we'll pass like him. Minam, and who is believed? Rabbi Yehuda, and we had this before. If you remember, we had a shaila before at the beginning of the Masechta about someone who said, I want to rent you my merchets for 12 months for $12, $1 per month. And the question was, what if it was an Ibrayar? Is it $12 for all 13 months, or is it $13? And there was a shiloh there as well. And one of the sheeters there said the same thing Rabbi Yehuda says here. Rabbi Yehuda Omar Karka becheskas baileh kaima. Karka is always in the chazak of its owner. So even though the malva already ate the pears for the third year, we consider the loiva as the muksik, and therefore the loiva can get his pears back. But Rav Kahana Omar pears becheskas oichlein kaimik. The pears are eaten. Now the loiva wants to extract payment from the malva. He's not a muksik for that. So therefore, he is the moitzah mechaber al-varai. So we have a machlokes. The hilchasad halach is kavasid Rav Kahana the Omar peyois becheskas oichlein kaimi. The pears are becheskas oichlein, meaning the malva is the muksik. He already ate the pears, and the loiva has to bring a raya that it was only 2 years if he wants to get his pears back. Frank the Gemara, how could you paskin like Rav Kahana? Rashi tells us we always pass like Rab Nachman in Dinei Mominis and Choshe Mishpat. And you know what the Rachman said? The Yomar Karka Becheskas by Leoimedas. And he said this in that case of the case that we had with the Merchats. So we always pass like Rab Nachman. Bidini, meaning that Karka Becheskas by Leo. How could we paskin over here like Rav Kahana that pears becheskas oichlein? Zogt Gemara, there's a very big difference. Hasam milsad loivida legluye. What was the shiloh over there? When you use both l'shoinois, $12 for the year, $1 per month, it's the Gemara applied with a teku. Is it toughest lashon rishon? Is it toughest lashon achrein? How do we paskin in such a case? We will never know the answer to that question until Mashiach comes. So therefore, since it will never find out the answer, we say karka becheskas by loyamedes. But hacha, here there was a star. Yes, the star didn't say how many years, but there's Adam on the star. It's quite possible that we'll eventually get verification from the Adam how long it was for. Hacha milsa davida legluyahi, and therefore, if we're going to take the pears away from the malva because we want to give it to the cheskas karka, the cheskas karka by lemedes, what are we going to do if later on the Adam come and say, no, it actually was 3 years. So now we're going to take the pears back from the loiv and give it back to the malva? We're not going to treat the bezin to first paskin one way, and then when Edom come paskin the other way. Therefore, we leave it the way it is until the Edom come, and that's when we get clarification. Zok to Gemara, a new case, slightly similar but different. Malva Oimer Chomesh. The Malva said that the Shtar Mashkanta was 5 years. Loiva Omer Sholosh. The Loiva said it's only 3 years. So there's a machloikis. There's a machloikis between the Malva and the Loiva. One of them is obviously lying. Was this a 5-year mashkanta, or was this a 3-year mashkanta? Okay, we don't have a star. We don't have a star. The Malva, Rashi explains, was already there for 3 years. And after 3 years, the Loiva says, okay, pal, I want my land back. It's over. It was a 3-year deal. The Malva says, what are you talking about? It's a 5-year deal. But there is no star here. So we don't know what to do. So Zokta Heilige Gemara. Zokta Heilige Gemara. Loivar Misholish. Malvar Mechamish, Loivar Misholish. Amar Lei. So the Loiva says, Aiseli Starach. You want to keep it for another 2 years? Show me the star that says 5. Prove your case. The Loiva will say to the Malva. Amar Lei, the Malva said, Stara Erchesli. I lost the star, but the star said 5. Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, Malva Neman. The Malva's Neman. You know why? He has a Mikul. He was in this field for 3 years. He was eating all the pears. He was in control of the field. And nobody was moicha. We're going to learn Shunim of Basra. If someone buys a field from somebody, he doesn't have to hold on to his star forever. He only has to hold on to his star for 3 years. And if for 3 years no one is ma'ar on the karka, that's a chazaka. So this guy, technically the Malva has a chazaka. There's no star here. He could say, I bought it. Miku di boy amar lekuchi biyodi. Had he said he bought it, he would be believed and he would keep the property permanently. Therefore, he's believed when he says that, no, I didn't buy it. It's taka mashkanta, but I have it for 5 years. Amalei Rapapa Rabashi. Rapapa told Rabashi, Rav Zvid, Rav Avira, loy svir lu had Rabbi Yehuda. Didn't hold of Rabbi Yehuda. You know why I didn't hold of Rabbi Yehuda? Because here we have some very strong indicators that even though he has a migui, he's lying. My timer. Think about it. Yes.
I don't understand amigo. Doesn't the owner have some sort of deed to the land to prove that he's the owner?
Well, if someone claims that he sold it, we're going to learn about the Basra. You might have had a deed, but if someone claims that he bought it from you, and he can show with Adam that he lived there for 3 years and he ran the field and you never said one word, that would in fact be proof that he purchased it. So he has that chazak over here. But Zok to Gemara, there's something very wrong with the taina of the Shema. That is as follows. Hi star. The star mechira, if you would have to hold on to your deed, as Duvi mentions, you'd have to hold on to it forever. Forever is a long time. So there are abundant at takana that if there's no complaints on the land for 3 years, you don't have to hold on to your field anymore. It's verified as yours. But a star guvaina, star mashkanta, that you have to, it's finite. It's for 3 years, for 5 years, or whatever it's for. There it's incumbent on you to hold on to the star, like a star chayv. So therefore, Zok to Gemara, high star, even the guvaina koi, since this star is a star mashkanta, miser zarbe, he would have to watch it. It would be incumbent upon him to hold on to the star. And therefore, since he didn't, it looks right away that he's trying to make shtick over here, because he should have it. The Malva might have purposely concealed the star because he figures he'll get an extra 2 years out of it. So since Mineyu Bey, his tanya looks very fishy, we're going to ignore his migoi. Now there's different svaras why. The Rishonim explain either because there's an Anan Sahadi that somebody holds on to his. There's an Anan Sahadi that a Malva will hold on to a star. This guy didn't, so therefore that's like Edim Keneged Amigui. But clearly, this doesn't smell right. This doesn't pass the sniff test if this guy claims that he doesn't have this star. And therefore, he cannot have the Migui. So Zok to Gemara. If that's the case, if that's the case, if you hold like Rabbi Yehuda, that the migu does work, if you hold like Rabbi Yehuda that the migu does work, we have a massive problem. Because how were the Rabbanon ever misaken mashkanta the surah? They're setting this up for a disaster. Because Rabbi Yehuda holds he has a migu, and the Malva is believed. So think about it. Every guy who gets a mashkanta can hide a star and then claim that he bought the property. So by setting up the whole concept of mashkanta, what the Rabbanan did is they set up a scenario where it's so easy for any Malva to lie and say that he bought it, and then he'll be able to keep the property. So Zok Gemara, Zok Rabashi, mashkanta the surah, the kasvi hachi. What do they write in the star? B'mishlam shani ilan alin. At the end of our term, tepuk arada beloy kesef. The land will be released back to the loiva, and there'll be no money exchanged. But heicha the kapchel the star mashkanta, should the malva conceal the star mashkanta and just claim you omar lekucha hibiyadi, he'll claim that he purchased it, and he's now has witnesses that he was there for 3 years, and the loiva wasn't ma'arik because the loiva was letting him stay there. Hakanami de mehemen. Are you telling me that will work? And now the malva can actually rip off the loiva and steal his property? V'chimisakni rabbanan milsa the osi ba l'dei pseida. Would rabbanan create such a framework that's so easy to corrupt and now steal properties? Bezdin couldn't possibly do something like that. Amalei, so Ravashi answered Ravina, no, there is a safeguard in place. The part of the takana also included a safeguard. What was the safeguard? Amalei hasam dakinali rabbanon the Mari Ariyov task. First of all, the owner, the loiva, will pay the property tax during the years of mashkanto. So he'll pull his receipts and show that he's been paying property tax. That will refute a tain of the malva that he has a chazaka, and v'kari kara. And you know what else he has to do? He's the one who's responsible for maintaining the integrity of the border of that field. So he's constantly, throughout the period of the mashkanta, showing ownership that will neutralize any claim of chazaka that the malva has. Frank Gemara, what about here? What's that?
Now, what's the case over here?
What case?
The Gemara's case that we just asked. Why don't we just say, let's see who paid the taxes?
Well, maybe he didn't pay taxes on it, and we'll just see in a second. But the question is, how can they create a system that's so flawed? Their system isn't flawed. Now, why in this particular case is a problem? The Gemara is gonna fear us. So let's finish the next line of the Gemara. Frank, what about Arid Leslie Curry? What if he had a besmedrish in that property? So it's a tax-free institution, so he doesn't have to pay tax. Veloyav task, and there's no tax on it. What will be halacha? Amalei, if that was the case, it would be. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think I skipped something. The Leslie Curry, if it doesn't have these borders and Veloyav taska, so it doesn't have the two safeguards that the Rabbanan put in place. Amalei, in such a case, the loiva should have been meicha. What if he wasn't? That's not a flaw with the Chacham. They gave you safeguards. Either pay the taxes, build the border, or be meicha. You could be meicha. You could say you're not here, alt owner. You're here only, alt malva. You didn't. The loiva messed himself up. So that's what could have happened here. So the takana of mashkanta included safeguards. This loiva didn't use the safeguards. That's why, according to Rabbi Yehuda, he's messed up because he allowed the malva to have a migu. Zok Gemara, a new case now. Oris oimer lemechza yerati v'lebayis oimer l'shlish. We've been talking about how much an oris gets, how much a shasla gets. What if there's a disagreement as to what the agreement was? The oris claimed we made up it'll be 50-50. Ubalabayis oimer l'shlish, and the balabai says, "What are you talking about? I was only going to give you a third." Haradativ. So me Neman, who will be believed? Rabbi Yehuda Omer Balabayis Neman. The Balabayis is Neman. Rabbi Nachman Omer no Hakoil Kamina Kamadina. Zog the Gemara Sabar Minei Loy Pligi. The Gemara wanted to say that there's no argument here at all. Haba Astra the Shakal Arisa Palga. When do you say when do you say Hakoil Kaminak Medina is when the Minak Medina is when the Oris takes half, and where is the Balabayis Nema to say that it's only a third? Haba after the Shakal Arisa Tilsa. The Balabayis is Neman to say that it was only a third in the city where that was the norm. So basically, it's just all about the minig of the Medina. It's not really Balabayis Neman. So therefore, there's no machlokes. Whatever the minig in the city is, that's what's done. Amalu Rab Mori, Baradaba Shmuel, Hachi Amar Abaye. This is what Abaye said. Afilu Ba'asra, the Shakal Arisa Palga, even in a city where the norm is that the Oris takes half, still Pligi Rabbi Yehuda, still Rabbi Yehuda argues, and he says Amar Balabayis Nema. You know why? Because the Balabayis has a migur. The Iboy Amar Schiri Lakitiu. I could say you're not even a nurse. You're a paid employee. I'll give you your daily wages. So therefore, the Balabais Yodi Al Yoinan, he's Nemon to dictate what the agreement was. What about another case? So these are all Me'inyan, Le'inyan, Ba'isa We're just talking about a potpourri of loosely connected cases. Now we have a new case. The halacha is that a malva has a right to collect, if the loiva dies, he has a right to collect karkois from the assignment. What happens if after the father died, the assignment improved the properties? That's shvach. So now the property was worth $1,000, but they improved it. Now it's worth $1,500. That shvach that they improved it, the malva is not entitled to take. So what would happen if there's a piece of property that belongs to the assignment, and the assignment, we were the ones who improved the property. So you have to pay us back the $500 of the shvach if you take this property. The malva says, no, this property your father already improved, and even before he died, it was worth $1,500, and I get to take the whole thing. Almila Havi Raya. Who is the muhsin? Who has to bring a raya that he's right? So let's turn on to the Amid Beis. Savar. Did the daf change by you?
Yeah.
Savar Rab Chanina Lamemar. Rab Chanina wanted to say the svar that we said before. Ira becheskes yasmi kaima. Right now, where's the land? The land is in the control of the assignment, and therefore the al bal choy v'lahavi raya, and therefore the bal choy would have to bring a raya that the shvach came before the death of the loiv. Zog to Gemara, Amar Lahu Ahusaba, an elder Yi told them. There are those who say Ahusaba is Eliyahu Navi, but this elder Yi told him, Hachi Amar Rabbi Yochanan. This is what Rabbi Yochanan said. Ala Yisaimim lahavi raya. You know who has to bring a raya? It's the Yisaimim. They're the Moitzim Mechaverai. Why is that? My time. The reason is Pashut. Ira Kivan de Liguvaina Kaima Command the Govidam. The property itself, there's a star on it. The malva has every right to go collect it. Once there's a shibud on the karka, the malva, it's as if the malva has it already. So the malva is the muhsar on the karka. And therefore, Ba'ala Yisaimin Lahavi Raya, and the Yisaimin have to bring a raya that in fact they improve the property. Amar Abaye Zakta Abaye, Afanan Nami Tanina. We also learned a brisa that has a different halacha, but it almost mirrors this halacha. It's really a daima b'daima, and there we see clearly that it will be the balchoiv, the malva, who has the upper hand. And the case is, the halacha is, you're not allowed to plant trees within 50 amos of a city. So if you did, if there was a city there and you planted a tree, we rip it out, the municipal employees will rip it out, and you don't get paid for that tree. But what if you planted a tree and then they built a city? The halacha is they still rip out the tree to protect the city, but you get reimbursed for the tree. So the Brisa says, Safek zek kodam, v'safek zek kodam. What if we didn't know, did the tree come first or was the city there first? The halacha is koitzitz. First of all, you cut it. Because in Mimanashech, no matter whether or not the city came first or the tree came first, you cut it. The whole question is, does the city have to reimburse the owner of the tree? But the you don't give money. You know why you don't pay? Because Alma we see, Kiva de Lamekat's Kaima, the halacha is it has to be cut. So we're going to cut it anyway. So once we cut it, then Amrinanle will tell the owner of the tree, I see Raya, bring us a Raya that the tree was there first, and then the shackle, and then you'll get paid for the tree. So Hakanami, here when you look at the case of the Yisayimim, Hai Shtaira, Kivin de Lagavaina Kaima, the halacha is the Malva gets to take the property with the Shvach. The whole shaila is, does he have to reimburse the assignment? But he has to take it. And he gets to take it no matter what. So just like the case of the tree, Koden Kol, he takes it. Now the shaila is that they have to pay for the Shvach. It's the assignment that are the Moitzim and Chaveroi, and they have to bring the Raya. Hachanami Haishtara Kivin de Lagavaina Kaima, command the Govidami. It's as if the Malva is the Muksik, Vala Yisaimim Lahavi Raya. And the Yisaimim have to bring a Raya. So therefore, what if they bring a raya? Aisu yasmi raya de inu ashku. They brought a raya, so now they're entitled to be reimbursed for the shvach. Savar Rab Chanina Lamemar. Now we're going to get into another interesting halacha. Savar Rab Chanina Lamemar. He said, ki misalkininu, ba'arim misalkininu. When he has to pay back the shvach. So let's say you have a property that was originally worth $100,000, and now that they were mishabeach it, it's worth $150,000. So Reb Chanina said, they have a right to say, don't give us a check for $50,000. We want you to give us a piece of the property worth $50,000. That's what we want. Zokt Gemar V'loihi. Reb Chanina's psak is wrong, because the Bidami Misalkinu, he has a right, the Mal has a right to take the whole property worth $150,000, and all he has to do is write out a check to the assignment for the $50,000 of the shvach. Midir Rab Nachman, because of the psak that Rab Nachman said, Amar Rab Nachman Amar Shmuel, Shloisha Shomen Lahem as a shvach. There's 3 cases where the person who had these property seized from him is entitled to the shvach, but umalin oisan bedamim. But the shvach can be paid in cash. You don't have to give them a piece of the property. Be'eluhain, who are these categories? Bechar leposhet. We know the halach is a bechar gets pishnayim. So let's say there's a piece of property that's worth $150,000, and the bechar and the poshet yarshin it. So of course the bechar is entitled to $100,000 worth of that property, 2/3, and the poshet is worth entitled to $50,000 of the property. But what if before they split it, they worked on it, and now the property is worth $300,000? It had a shvach of $150,000. That $150,000. You don't say whatever shvach happened in the bechor's chelik he gets, or whatever happened in the poshet's chelik he gets. No, that $150,000 gets split 75 and 75. So what's going to happen is the bechor is going to take 2/3 of the property, the poshet is going to take 1/3 of the property. Now the bechor took extra shvach because the shvach that was on this property he's taking that he's not entitled to. So therefore he has to write out a check to his brother for the discrepancy in the shvach. So here's a case where the poshet is entitled to the shvach, but he doesn't get property. Keneged that shvach, he just gets paid off in cash. That's one case. Ubal choiv uksubas isha liyasoimim. Abal choiv who's collecting from Yisoimim, or a woman, an almon who's collecting from the Yisoimim or ksuba. Again, they will take the property with the shvach, but they have to write a check back for the shvach, which is our case. Ba'chayv, the assignment is our case, and ba'chayv l'lekuchais. And the same thing if a ba'chayv goes and seizes property from somebody who bought it from the loiva, if he bought it, if the malva is seizing property from somebody who bought it from the loiva, and the lekuchais have improved the property, the malva takes the property, but he has to pay off the lekuchais. So those are the 3 cases. Amalei Ravina Ravashi. Remember, based on what you just said, you're telling me the Sarva Shmuel, are you telling me that if I buy a property off a loiva and now it's being taken away from me and I improve the property, that has nothing to do with the loiva? I improve the property. Why should a ba'chayv have a right to take that shvach from me at all? Remember the Sarva Shmuel ba'chayv l'kuchais. Are you telling me Shmuel holds that in fact he could seize that property with shvach? I'm sorry, are you telling me that the b'chayv takes the shvach and has to pay back the lekeach? Is the lekeach entitled to be reimbursed for a shvach? V'yamar Shmuel b'chayv goybes a shvach, and he does not have to reimburse. He does not have to reimburse the loiva. He can take it and keep it. You might ask, what type of chutzpah is that? Why should he get to keep it? That has nothing to do with the malva and loiva. So the teretz is, since he has a chrayis, and he's anyway going to go back to the loiva, to the person who sold him the property, and collect for the property, he'll collect for the shvach too. But I'll call upon him, we have a steer over here, because Shmuel said the Baal Chayv gets to keep the shvach. Yet we have a different Shmuel who said, Shaman lemes the shvach, meaning the Baal Chayv will have to write out a check to the lekeach for the shvach. Which one is it? Does the Baal Chayv get to seize the shvach and keep it, or does he have to reimburse the lekeach for the shvach? Zogt Gemara, b'chitema loikashe, kan b'shvach hamagil l'ksafim, kan b'shvach shein hamagil l'ksafim. If you're going to tell me it makes a difference, if the shvach is still not fully grown, so therefore it's connected to the ground, that's where the Baal Chayv can take it. But if it's fully grown, then the Baal Chayv can't take it. That's not true, because we know there are stories that happen all the time. Shmuel allows the Baal Chayv to seize even if it's fully grown produce. So you can't make that distinction. Zogt Gemara loy kasha. Had the masak bekashir ara ushvacha. Had le masak bekashir ara ushvacha. When Shmuel said that the Baal Chayv gets to keep the shvach and he doesn't have to pay back the lekeach, that's if that's how much he's owed. The property is worth 100. The shvach is worth 50. If the loan value is 150, the Baal Chayv can take the land and the shvach to pay back his loan. But if he's only owed 100 and the karka is worth 100 and the shvach is worth 50, there he wouldn't be able to take the shvach because he's not allowed to take more than what his loan value is. Zok Gemara, v'chiloi masik shir ara ushvacha. So you're telling me in a case where he's only owed 100, but the land with the shvach is 150, so the yoyev leizuzi lelekeach, meaning now the malva has to give cash to the lekeach to offset the cost, of the shvach. Umesalikle. Frek the Gemara, hanichel man domar is leizuzi lelekeach loy moti mesalikle lebachlik. There is a machlokes. If I bought a property for $100,000 and now the malva is coming to take it away from me, but I happen to have $100,000, can I pay off the malva and say, don't take my property, I'll give you a check, I'll pay you the money? Can you do that or not? There's actually a machlokes. So if you hold, the loiva can't do that. If the karka is meshubit, the malva has the right to seize the property, and I can't pay him off in cash. So then it makes sense, shopper, then it makes sense why I can't pay him off with the shvach either, and I just have to accept cash to pay me for my shvach. If you hold that if the lekeach had cash, he would be able to give cash to the Baal Chayv and save his field. If I have shvach here, why can I accept a check for the shvach? Why can I demand a piece of the property for the shvach? Let lekeach tell the malva who's trying to seize the property and the shvach. If I had cash, I'd be able to pay you off and save this property for me. I don't have cash to redeem this property, but there's shvach on this property that's mine that you're going to give me cash. Don't give me the cash. Rather, have li geruya da'ara ve'aroi shi'ur shvachoi. Give me a little piece of property of this land. So instead of seizing all the land, leave me over some of my land. That would be the value of the shvach that you have to pay me for anyway. So according to that manda omar, that I can pay you off with cash, why does the malva have a right to take the property and just write out a check? Why can't the lekeach demand that he gets paid off with property? Zok Gemara, I'll tell you why. In this case, where Shmuel said that the malva has a right to seize the property with the shvach, this kegoyin, this shavi and the hayapoitiki. This isn't a regular shibut karka. By a regular shibut karka, yes, the loiva can demand to keep a part of the property. But here, the malva has an apoitik here. This piece of property was designated by the loiva to pay back the malva with. The amalei lo yehelach piroin el mizu and therefore the Malva has a right to take the entire piece of property and keep it for himself. And therefore, he could just write out a check to pay for the shvach if the value of the shvach exceeds the value of the shvach exceeds what his loan is. Okay, it's 10-7, so we better stop here. So Bezim will be mamshech tomorrow. We'll start from this mission tomorrow. I'm sorry we're a little behind, but I couldn't get to a place where I could stop on time.
Yosy, you're gonna miss the Shemana Esrei over there.
Well, they're starting right now. They're starting at 10-2. So I'm gonna go in now.
There's no korbanos there. Remember.
I guess if I'm late, I'll have to sacrifice korbanos.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to sign out.
Right.